Welcome to the Grow Ortho live stream. I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined by Julie Foster, one of HIP's very own front desk extraordinaire. Welcome to the show, Julie.
Thank you, Zach. Thanks for having me. Your podcast is such a great resource. We're excited to be a part of the conversation here today.
I am excited that you're here. I'm excited everybody joining us over on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, over on Instagram. Everybody hopping over there. Y'all let us know how you are down in the comments below. We're here to answer any questions. Today's live stream is very, very tailored to improving your front desk. But before we get into all of that, Julie, how has everything been going? We've gotten the first month out of the way of the year. How is everything going?
It's been great. You know, I'm here in Colorado, so I'm never going to complain. Weather's always nice, no humidity. It's been cold, but amazing. My daughter is actually from Florida, so she's going to be visiting with us next week. So we're going to do a lot of fun things and hiking and skiing and visiting alpaca farms and doing some really cool stuff next week. So I'm excited.
That sounds like a great time. I wished I was up there looking at some alpacas, getting to enjoy the nice weather, because here in Florida, you don't know what you're getting. You don't know if it's going to be sunny, rainy, or even snow. You know,
McGinnon. You had that McGinnon, didn't you?
Yeah, it was crazy, but it was also nice at the same time. So guys, let us know where you're watching from and that you're excited for today's live stream. We're going to be discussing how to improve your front desk and phone calls, because your front desk is the lifeblood of your practice. Wouldn't you agree, Julie?
Yes, for sure.
And without the front desk, you're going to be losing potential millions of dollars every year. And you have to be conscious of what's going on your phone calls and all of that. Let's talk about improving your front desk and your follow-up services. So, Julie, walk me through, why is first impressions and tone so important?
Well, I mean, the person that's answering the phone is setting the tone for the whole office, right? Like, the people that click on the ad, basically they're just getting, going to ring right into us. So they don't really know much about us yet. So they want to make sure, I just feel like it just sets the tone for the whole office. So if you feel rushed, if you feel stressed, if you feel like you don't give a dang, things like that, they're going to feel that over the phone. So basically it sets a tone for the whole office. You need to be smiling when you're answering that phone, listening, engaging to the customer. And it's not just the phone. It's just like when they walk in as well. Right, Zach? So it's like, how does it look? How does it smell? How does it feel? I mean, it's everything when it comes to front desk.
How can you improve that in some practical ways?
Yeah. So basically, a script is huge. I mean, a lot of patients or people at the front desk, they get busy. We're busy with patients coming in. We're busy with kids out in the waiting room. We're busy. So when you answer the phone, it's kind of like, it could be a nuisance, right? So, if you have a laminated script, I say laminated in case you spill something or whatever, I always make sure it's laminated and we find it. If you have it right there by your phone, even if, you're rushing to the phone and you're answering it, you can pull that baby out. You don't forget anything. You stick to what's right. You know what I mean? Things like that. So my script is my Bible. I still use it. I know everything I do by heart, but it's just nice to have that. And another thing, going back to first impressions, just to answer the phone on the first 2 or 3 rings is amazing. Because do you like, Zach, when you call somebody and it's like, press 1 for new patient, press 2 for old patient, press 3 to leave a voicemail? Then you never know if you're going to get a call back.
Yeah.
When you pick up a phone, you're energetic, you're excited, you're glad they called. Like, that's huge, especially nowadays when everybody wants stuff instantly.
The call tree nonsense is such a medical field thing. Like, anytime you deal with anybody that's not a dentist or orthodontist, I feel like you're going through that tree, you're waiting on hold for such a long time.
Yes, it's exhausting.
And you're just like, I'm just a number here. I don't really matter. And that's not the times, like we have a partner, Taylor Dental. I called them to get my teeth seen about, and second ring, boom, hey, how can I help you? And got me in super quick. And that set the tone. My expectations for the whole thing were met every point of the way. And it starts with that front desk.
Yeah. So designating a person to make sure that phone call, when it rings, they get it on like the second ring would be huge if they could do that. Yeah. Front desk stuff.
Now, there are challenges at the front desk, just like any part of the practice. How can front desk teams juggle answering calls? And if you don't have like a call center or patient care center, you might even be having to greet people in person, the in-person visitors. So how would you go about juggling both sides of that without dropping the ball on either of them?
Basically, it's a good balancing act, like if you have a patient in front of you, you need to prioritize the patient in front of you. I mean, it's just, that's the life of it.
Yeah.
But, when you do answer quickly, you can just say, just one moment, please. And then when you do answer the call, don't seem rushed. Just say, hey, I'm with another patient. I want my undivided attention to you. Do you mind if I call you back in like 3 to 5 minutes? And if you give them like they have to answer me, no, I don't mind. It makes them feel like they made this choice, not
Mhm.
us, like telling them we can't talk to you right now.
Yeah.
That's always helpful. Or, give them the option. If you'd like me to put you on hold for 3 to 5 minutes and you want to listen to music, that's fine too. But I'm here for you. I just need to finish up, the patient in front of me. So just be honest, I think. People know people are busy, especially in a dental office, but that's what I would do.
Just to go off that, let's say you've been on the phone with this patient, you're like almost at the end. I'm just throwing a curveball at you here, Julie. You're almost at the end here, and someone walks in. How do you go about handling that situation? Because you're pretty deep in the call at that point. Would you
Yeah.
do the same thing?
Again, just maybe put them on a brief hold. Just say, we're almost there. We're almost at the end. We're almost to get you scheduled. I'm going to put you on a brief hold, but tell them how long the hold's going to be. It's going to be 30 seconds or less. I just need to, figure something out here for a moment. Can you hold for 30 seconds, or something like that? Can you hold for less
Yeah.
than 1 minute? Again, you're kind of putting the ball in their court. Usually if you're honest with the patient and explain to them, a patient just walked in, I'm going to get them, checked in really quick. I'll be right with you, to finish up this appointment. So like I said, it's just a good balancing act. You have
Yeah.
to, both of them are equally important, like the one in front of you or the one that's calling. So
When you're calling, this is just kind of a, thing to put into place is always get their number before you are deep into it, because you never know when something is going to disconnect. You never know when they're going to lose signal, whatever, or if you have to, you just need to make sure that you've got bases covered.
that's a good deal too.
What are some common slip ups made during phone calls, and how can we correct them as orthodontists and dentists?
Not sounding robotic, having confidence when you answer the phone, add warmth to your voice. And again, like I said, just asking permission to be put on hold if need to step away for a moment or something, and give them that timeline. When you're in a busy dental office, like I said, I mean, you could pick it up really stressy. Like, I don't have time to answer this right
Yeah.
now. I was back there cleaning a bathroom and whatever,
Yeah.
something happened and I'm running to the phone out of breath. Like I said, that's when those scripts are really, handy, because you can just whip that baby out, because you can even think about, what am I supposed to say? I can't remember. You can just whip that baby out, just start reading. And then it just kind of calms you down when like, I'm in control. I can do this. And then, yeah. And then they feel that through the phone. Just like you said, we don't have body language to do, but it's all about your voice, tone, tonality, things like that. Just calm down.
So you mentioned adding warmth. How do you go about doing that? Like, if someone doesn't understand what is warmth within someone's tone, like, can you give me some pointers and give us some information, some tactical things that we can do to add warmth to our voices?
Yeah, I mean, warmth is pretty much like empathy sometimes too. Like, if a patient's calling and they're busy too, and I'm trying to put them on hold, you might just say something like, I totally understand. I'm sorry I would have to put you on hold today. So it's more of a, I feel for you. I'm glad that you called, just keep reiterating the same thing, like, your
Yeah.
importance call to your call is very important to me. I will have to put you on a brief hold just for 30 seconds. I'll be right back. But, say it in that tone too. Don't, can I put you on hold? That, I don't know. I could just go through we should do a podcast of just the what not to do's,
Yeah.
because I don't know, in customer service in general, since I'm there and I live it, I expect it now, and it just
Yeah.
doesn't happen a lot. So the offices that provide it, they're going to win for me. Like, those are the ones I'm going to give my business
Yeah.
to.
And I think that's, people want connection in this day and age with everything being so instantaneous, like DoorDash, all of this, AI being a part of it as well. It's like people want to feel connected to something. And if you give them that empathy, you're not being sympathetic, because sympathy is a bad thing, to be honest. Empathy is the thing that you want to chase and be, because people can tell that sympathy is fake, empathy is real.
Yep,
And
it's
when
true.
you do that, they're going to be like, oh, I'm seen, I'm heard. And what do people want most? They want to feel like they belong and that they are accepted and seen.
True.
So doing
And
that is going to be huge.
and if you also announce your name a lot, I mean, I'll say my name, my personal name 5 times in a phone call, or maybe even more.
Mm.
"Hey, my name is Julie. I'm gonna put you on hold really quick, but, we could disconnect it for any reason. Please let me know, ask for Julie." But, they know my name by the end. They usually ask for it when they go back into the office. Then, of course, I'm not there, so it confuses 'em. I'm like, "Wait, where's she at?" She's some person in a box, like, behind the
Well,
curtain.
and that's a huge thing. Like, that is a great way of, like, you've made an indelible mark on the customer, that you are the front line. You are the gatekeeper, and you can either be a Julie, which is awesome, or you can be a Roz from Monsters Inc. It's just like this gruff,
Yeah.
smoker lady voice. It's like you don't want
Uh,
that.
right. No, you want somebody that has that warm, just personality, when you call.
Just to hit one last thing on the robotic side, you keep talking about a script and everything, and a script is awesome, especially when you're new or if you have that brain fart kind of moment,
Yeah.
but you don't want to sound like you're reading. I think that's a huge thing. We get told during school, all of that, when you're making a presentation, you don't want to sound like you're reading. It's the same thing with a phone call. People can tell you're just, thank you for calling Hip Orthodontics. How can I help you? Like,
Yes.
that's not impressive. That's not
No.
making that connection.
The more you know your script, the more you can put the fluent things in it, but you have to know it. I mean, it's a memorization. That's really all it is, that script. It's just a memorization, and then you start putting your key points into it, and now I don't even need mine, but I mean, of course, it's there just in case because it's my Bible, but
Yeah.
it's just everybody needs a script because, like I said, you're busy, people are in front of you, and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I say?" You know what to say, but at the moment, you're kind of, you can be stressed at the office, so.
So what makes a script like truly effective? What are the components that you look for when you get a script from an orthodontics practice, or there's something new? Like, what are you looking for in a script to make it have that edge that you need?
It's always gonna make you sound more confident because it's gonna have a lot of information on there that you may have just learned working at the front desk. You won't forget critical information. I've done that before. Like, I'll get to talking to a patient. We'll start talking about kids and schools and all this. And then I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I forgot to ask their birthday." That would have been important, before we
Yeah.
hang up. So, anybody, I mean, you just need to, like I said, know it all. But a lot of the times, like for our partners, I need it to build value to their doctor. So I want to know
Mm.
exactly, what does your doctor do? Who is he? Does he big in the community? And I'll tell them, like, they have a conservative treatment approach here at our office. We're great with kids, family friendly. The reason why people pick our office is because of this. I mean, those are like key points, when people
Yeah.
call in, that you could, really tell them about it. And so that's why I think a script, it could be long, it could be short, but I think it does need those key points of, in case they ask, right? Like, does your
Yeah.
doctor do, retainers too and night guards, or is it just orthodontic? Just things like that. So I don't want to ever be caught off guard. So that's why my scripts are like, they're there.
Yeah. And I think that's important, because edifying the doctor is putting them in the position where they truly should be, which is a force to be reckoned with, someone that knows what they're doing. They've spent,
Yes.
a bajillion years in school, it feels like, and they've set themselves up to be this pillar of knowledge and effectiveness, and you being able to deliver that, because each doctor is different. And I think
Yep.
knowing that, and it's like, oh, well, you do custom brackets, blah, blah, blah. Do you do Invisalign? Do you do, Light Force? Do you, like, most of the time people won't know what that is, but it's
Right.
like, if you know how to spin that into that part of it, the front desk call, it's going to be huge.
It is huge because a lot of patients, they might say, "Well, I don't want braces." What But I knew that the office has the clear braces, or they have the gold tone braces, or they have so I'll just start rattling off. I'm like, oh, hun, like we got more than just the traditional. We have this, we have that. I start giving them all
Yeah.
these options, and they love it. Like, it makes me feel, it's just more, it sounds more natural, sounds more clear, sounds like I know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
But again, it's just script stuff. Like, I just tell anybody can do it, really.
And it just takes time. The more you practice it, and practice it when you're not on the phone. I think that
Yeah.
is something, like this show. I don't just show up and just like, okay, what am I doing today? It's like I look at the questions, I look at this, I look at that, and I practice lines if something is weird. Like if I got to say something specific, it's
Yeah.
the same thing with your scripts. You need to,
Practice makes perfect.
yeah, it's like brushing your teeth. Like
Yeah.
when you first started brushing your teeth, it was because you had to. It wasn't natural. But now it's like you don't go a day without brushing your teeth or you're going to feel grody.
I know. And scripts can be super monotone. You can just read it like this, but as you feel comfortable, I'll just work with people at the front desk before, and I'll just say, hey, this one line, let's just work on this one line. Just say, change it up and say, how does that feel? And just like change your voice just a little bit
Hmm.
on this one line. Let's start there. Like little things just to make it sound more, impressive to them, or whatever, to get them engaged.
Engagement is so important to all of this. How should practices train their front desk staff? This is such a huge thing. And what does an ideal training program actually include?
Basically, it's going to be the script, basically.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're just going to go from there. It's a lot of practicing. Sometimes we have put little like mirrors by their whatever to smile. That always sends a
Yeah.
different message. We've even had stand-up desks to give them more energy. You kind of have to figure out who you're working with at the front desk. What's their fear of what answering the phone? I mean, are they just timid and they can't
Mm.
talk, or is it I don't know, just see what they're uncomfortable with, and work with each, front desk team member to see what we can do to help utilize it. But everybody just needs to do the script. You need to keep practice. Practice makes perfect.
One of the things that I think would be very beneficial is role playing.
Yeah. And also listening to your calls back from a patient that you had, you will learn a lot from those. I mean, I am my biggest, I will just read something back or listen to something back, and I'm like, why? I was too fast today. Like, I did that one too fast, or I should have broke here and asked them, how do you feel about that? Rather than, the other two sentences, and then did it later. You can always critique yourself. Right.
Mhm.
So, but you're your best critic. So I think that would be helpful.
And role playing, for anyone that doesn't know what that is you have somebody on your staff playing the part of the person calling, and then someone playing the part that they're answering the phone call, and you go through the script. And the more you do that, you throw them different scenarios, you throw them different if it's challenges, anything that would be obstacles, how do they handle that? Well, I can only come in at 4:30. Well, it takes an hour and we actually close at 5. How can we
Mhm.
help you get in, at a different
That's
time,
it.
whatever it may be? Or, well, we can actually stay later, to get you in this one time because we really want to see you.
Oh, do you remember those ring, 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 ring? You had to
Yeah.
like pretend.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, and I would be the one to be like, can I bring my 5 kids in? I would be that stickler that would
At
always like do that to him
4:56.
in training. Yeah. I would always do that in training to him. It was funny.
Those are really important parts of it, but front desk goes a little bit further than just the first phone call. Let's talk about follow-up strategies. Why is following up with patients so critical for keeping them engaged, and how can practices actually refine their approach? Because I think this is the part that a lot of people drop the ball on.
It builds trust when you basically call somebody back, like you follow up with them. Like, say you did get a hold of them really quick, they're in the car, like, hey,
Yeah.
I called about the consultation today. She goes, honey, I'm in my car. I won't get off to 4. I'm like, okay, I'll try you back then. But when you call back at 4 or 4:15, give them a few minutes, like, it's impressive, especially when they answer the phone call and they're like, oh my God, she said she's going to call me back at 4. Cool. And then that's just like, it's impressive, I think. It shows integrity. Like, hey, we said something, we're going to do it. We're going to call you back. We did it. And also the first 3 days, you don't want them to sit there too long. Like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to get a hold of them within 5 minutes. We all know that There's like a 400% chance more better that you're going to get this, appointment scheduled, the
Yeah.
first time within the first 5 minutes. And then it just kind of diminishes from there. So, calling them back if they requested a certain day and time, that builds a lot of trust with the patient. So,
So many people don't answer their phones.
yeah.
They're like, I don't know this number. I know when I literally have an app on my phone that blocks any calls that I don't have and sends
Yep.
them to a robot to talk to. It's
Yep.
like, I don't want to deal with that. So it's like making sure that you are not only following up multiple times through phone, but also texting and emailing and
Yeah.
making sure that you are hitting all points, because sometimes a phone call, like, I'm a millennial, Julie, and we hate talking on the phone. Like, that's just, I feel like it's built into our DNA. So most of us hate talking on the phone. So getting a text message,
Text is
it's
good.
like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'll text you.
I'll text all day long. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I'll give them that option immediately. Hey, when you get back to your desk and if you're able to text at work or if you want to text me at lunch hour, and I'll tell them, I will be here till da 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 today. Text me at any time. I'll see it on my computer. I hear you. I see you. I tell them that all the time, and I'm at my computer all day. So if they send a text back, hey, I'm ready to talk, Julie, you can call now, or hey, I want to know more about the consult. I've text patients all day. Like sometimes I'll start at 8 o'clock in the morning when I gave them that phone call. She'll ask me a few questions at lunch. I'll answer them. And then by 5 p.m., I finally got the set. I'm like, I have worked all day for this one, But it's true. It's like, if you want to text all day, I'm here for it. If this is the way we got to do it.
It's being there for the patient's own time. It's making sure that they know that you are there on their time, not vice versa. And that's why so many people hate going to the doctor, because it's actually an inconvenience 9 times
Yeah,
out of 10.
it is.
And it's like knowing that, oh, you're actually going to take care of me. I'm not having to bend over backwards for you. And that sets the stage so well for everyone that's involved. And just shout out, Practice Beacon makes
I
it
love
such an
it. I
easy
know.
way to do that. Let's talk about a time where great follow-up convinced a patient to move forward with treatment. I want one of your examples
Mm.
here.
I hate to say this, but there's so many scenarios of it, right? I think my most recent one was yesterday or the day before, but it was a mom that had a couple kids. She was on state insurance and she was worried that, you guys won't cover anything.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we will not. I mean, it wasn't an in-network provider. But, I just let those patients know. I'm like, hey, even though we are not in network with your insurance, I just want to tell you more about our consultation. I really do. Do you have a few minutes? So then I just talk to him about it. And I just say, it's okay if you don't have insurance because our monthly payment is this. We make it very affordable for our patients to be able to have treatment. We want everyone to be cared for. And I just kind of make them feel better about it. And she scheduled, I thought this was going to be just like one child, 3 of her children. I don't know how many will
Wow.
start. I don't know how many will, whatever. Hopefully it all turns out. But it must have been impressive enough for her to be like, I need them all checked out because, we're a specialty only orthodontist practice. And I'm like, wouldn't you want to come in just for a free consult, just to get this consultation, see what we can do to help, at least if they're not ready to start now, if they would show up, get in the door, I think they have a better chance of having that on their list to follow up later.
Convincing someone that, hey, one, it's okay that your insurance isn't going to cover
Yeah.
this. Like, it's not the end of the world. We actually will help you. And I think setting those fears aside is
Yes.
huge for people, because money is a huge decider of things, especially for anyone
Yep.
that is, I don't know, many people that don't struggle with all the financial issues that are going on in the world
Yeah.
in some shape, form, or fashion. So being able to assuage those feelings and put them at ease, where it was like, not only could they just end the call with like, okay, I don't feel like a horrible mom,
Yes.
but
I
okay,
could maybe
let's,
do this. I mean, they're kind of feeling like maybe I can do this. And I, basically I'll just tell them too, like a lot of our patients may have insurance, but they may not have wonderful, coverage. So I said, I just think it's a good idea for you to come in for this, consult to get everything checked out. And I said, I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised at our deals that we got going on. So yeah, I feel really good that I have that verbiage to, I hate to say fire right back at them, but to kind of give out to the, patients that some people super focus on that insurance,
Yeah.
I mean, some of it's scammy to me. I don't know. I'm just like, come on in. Our
Yeah.
patients have found that even if you do or do not have insurance, it's still worth coming in to see what we can do to help. So
That right there just shows the heart behind it all. You are trying to help people. And
yes.
that's the whole thing. It like sales gets a bad rep and everything, but you are just helping them because you want to see their child have a good life. You want to
Right.
see them be able to be like, "Oh, I was able to help my kid."
Yeah, and she
You
had a
know?
feeling of desperation. You could tell it in her voice. Like she was like, "Oh, another one that doesn't accept Medicaid. What
Yeah.
can I do?" I felt bad for her, but sometimes the deals that we have are better than what they're going to offer anyway. So I just say, if it's a short-term investment, let's get them in, and we'll get you going. So
Julie, what are some good ways to build employee morale, like team members' morale in the workplace?
yeah, I think, well, the only way to do great work, as we know, is love what you do. So you have to create an environment that they like coming to work. And it does take, I would say, a little bit of work on the doctor's part, probably, or the office manager. But, um, just for instance, I worked at a dental office out here in Colorado, and we would have our morning huddles. And then once a month, we would go on meet at a mountain at 7 a.m., go on a quick hike, and then we'd come back and start our day. I mean, it was like, who hikes and then goes to work? That was so cool, though. Yeah. And then I was going to tell you, Zach, and then I fell down the mountain, and then I bloodied my knee, and then I had to go get it stitched up. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, that was a fun one. So I was the talk of the town that day, or the office. But yeah, so we did a whole bunch of to recognize people, basically.
Mhm.
Some of the offices I've worked in, they have done incentives for the new patients that you schedule. So if that's something the
Okay.
office would like to do. Also, huddles are huge, because what we would do at another office is we would pick a patient of the day, so we'd celebrate that. I mean, it's just celebrations, incentives, um, you know, just things like that. I mean, great, amazing huddles, and HIP's great at what they do. They have great work, you know, employee morale in the workplace. So, and
Mhm.
a good work-life balance too.
When people come to work and they're excited, they're motivated, that shows in the way they carry themselves, their tone of voice. And again, we're talking about, phone calls, follow-up services. It's all about the energy.
It
So
is.
knowing how to treat people right, oh, we're having lunch this day. Oh, we're going out to, you know, we're buying everybody a ticket to the movies. We're going to go watch the new whatever it is. And
Yes.
that camaraderie right there just strengthens the team. It's not forced, it's not fake. You have to figure that out
Yes.
within your practice because everybody is different. What you want as, possibly the doctor might be different than what your staff wants as well.
It's true. Yeah, it depends on, who your team is at the time and what motivates them, for sure. But
Yeah.
there's always something that motivates somebody, or,
Yeah.
something. So it's like you got to figure out, it might even be an individual thing. Like, oh, she'd like a little gift card. She likes to feel appreciated this way.
Yeah.
It's just learning that. But when they show up to work and they love what they do, it matters on the phone. It matters to your patients, everything. I mean, happy employees ensure you have happy customers. So
What are some unique hurdles that practices face when incorporating follow-up services? Like they might have just one person on the front desk and like they're answering calls, people are coming in. Like, what are some specific things that they're facing that they can improve going forward?
everybody has busy schedules up at the front desk, but I think almost like when they start out doing this follow up, especially with the practice beacon that we do, is if just at least one person in the office at the front desk can own it, like at the beginning. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody needs to learn it. Everybody needs to be able to answer the phone, but um, there's certain incidents, like at offices I worked at. If you were 5-star certified, you were able to answer the phone. If you weren't ready yet. I mean, it was just
Mm,
like cutthroat, kind of like that. But, and I'm not saying it has to be like that. I'm just saying, like, that person may need more practice. So I think, just somebody to own it, basically would help them get through a lot of hurdles, so that they wouldn't miss any phone calls. They could contact them within 5 minutes. They'd have their computer up and ready at all times. And that person wouldn't be pulled away in a million different directions. So they're able to focus on their task at hand.
when one person owns a task, it is their responsibility and they feel empowered. And as a leader, you need to make sure that they feel empowered and not overwhelmed. So make sure that you're teaching them everything that needs to happen. If they are using like Practice Beacon, we have lots of training on that. We have
Yes.
our PGAs, we've got our partner success team that can help with that side of things. But when you give somebody something, spot check them. I know Dr. Bryce talks a lot about spot checking, making sure people are, on task, making sure they're crushing it. But don't keep hovering over them, because they're going to feel like, oh, well, they don't trust me. And then they're going to just give up. And then eventually you're going to have to take that responsibility back. And
Right.
then you've kind of ruined that part right there for a little while until you make some changes on how you manage. So just be very careful on when you give somebody something, trust them, but verify.
And pick the person that's excited about it. I mean, I'd love that. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it," but I was like, "Oh, are you sure?" I mean, yeah, it's a whole different beast, this, front desk stuff.
How can a practice tell if no shows will be less, more patients will be scheduled? Are there any like key metrics or benchmarks that kind of signal like things are going well? Like when you're looking at Practice Beacon, it's like, oh, well, this is actually going well.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's super excited to see the appointments scheduled. Once we schedule the appointment, you put it into that row on Practice Beacon, and it's exciting because that number continues to grow and grow and grow and grow, and it'll tell you when their appointment was and everything else. So those are successes that you want to celebrate for sure. Like you can just look at it daily and be like, "Wow, we scheduled 18 patients today. This is amazing." Um, so yeah, basically that. And like, Zach, it's just, you'll know by butts and chairs, right? You'll know
Yeah.
by the flow, how many more patients are coming in, how many phone calls you're getting. Those patients telling other patients. That's your best compliment anyway, is having a, referral from an existing patient or one that came in. So yeah, I think you'll know by that.
Another way to kind of gauge how well your front desk is doing or your call center is answer rate. Like if your answer rate is 70%, you're losing 30% of calls. Like that's a
Mhm.
lot. Even 1% of your day is 14 minutes. Like when you really think about it. So it's like, where is your answer rate? Like where's your goal? Where are you right now? And where do you want to be next week or tomorrow? It's like you need to just set that. And a great way to do that and challenge your team is like make a list. Brian Tracy talks about this. He's like, the way to improve your team is make a list and say, all right, Julie's answer rate is 97%. Monica's answer rate is 93, and so forth and so on. And as you look down that list, the people are going to be like, okay, I'm at 78%. I'm
I
at
got to
the
get
bottom.
better. I got to prove.
Yeah, I got to improve. And their goal is not to jump all the way up to beat Julie. It's like, okay, I got to
Yeah.
move. I got to start moving up
Mhm.
and get better. And that's a way to do those things and challenge people in a healthy way. This is not a shame tactic.
No.
It's never in shame or anything like that. It's like, hey, this is where we're at. And he was talking about this example, Brian Tracy, in his book, Delegation to Supervision. Great book, by the way, on Audible. It's free if you have a membership. He was talking about he implemented this into a real estate agency, and this real estate agency had like 20 different offices in this huge megaplex town, whatever. And they, after a month, they were the number one office out of 30 or 20 or 30 different offices within that city because
Wow.
of that.
What you track improves. I mean, we know
Yeah.
this. We do it every day in our follow-up team. So, how many we've scheduled per office, what we can do to improve, changing up the script. I mean, it's a continual thing that you need to own.
Don't ever rest on your laurels. I think that is a huge thing about this. Let's talk about some personal touch in patient interactions. So, why is it so important to build a personal connection during that first call? And how can the staff do it when time is tight? Like you're trying to, give that answer rate. You're trying to, go one call after another. How do you go about that?
A lot of practice. Personal connections, great. Like small talk is huge. Basically, yeah, it's just small talk. Like if you notice it's somebody's birthday and it's coming up next week. I'm like, oh, you have a birthday coming up, or just act like you're normal, like you're talking to a friend, like so. Small talk's huge. Listen to them too, so you know exactly what they want. That's really going to shorten your time on the phone, because sometimes you can rattle off your spill all you want, but they just wanted to know this and this and this, and they're an existing patient. Oh, well, they probably need to talk to Dr. Whomever. And I was on the phone with them for 12 minutes for no reason. I mean, not for no reason, but I can't
Yeah.
schedule and they need a little bit more extra care. So, yeah, just listening to them. Small talk's great to get a connection going with the patient. And just do those check-ins real quickly and just ask those questions. How does that sound to you? Could I call you back? Is 5 o'clock better than 4 o'clock to call you back? Or what's a good time to call back? Or you're always checking in with the patient to keep them engaged.
I think that's huge because people want to talk about themselves. And when I'm reading off my script, I'm in my flow, I'm feeling good. And they're over there like, my God, will
Blah,
she
blah, blah.
stop yapping and just let me answer, ask a
Yes.
question. And I think that's huge. Like, you can feel the energy on a phone call. Like, you can tell, like, when someone's like, hey, I just got a quick question. Don't go into your spill. Like, you can go into the, hey, thank you for calling, blah, 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 whatever it is. And then be like, how may I help you? Like,
Yeah, what can I do to help you today? And then they might just have a simple question, and that's it.
Yeah,
You just don't know. You can start it that way anyway, so they feel important.
Again, it comes back to connection and wanting to
Mhm.
be seen. That is huge. I think people really need to understand. And if you implement just those two things, your follow-up and your phone calls are going to be so much better. So, Julie, I want to ask you, can you share any patient success stories that highlight like the personalized follow-up that you've done?
The one that really brings to my attention was this one patient. She seemed kind of uneasy over the phone, but you could tell she was a giving person, a loving person, and she was just simply saying, my daughter needs braces. It's all about my daughter. So we got her, on the schedule, whatever. And then I don't know, I just felt weird, like something's missing here. Like, okay, is there any, and so I just asked her kind of at the end of the conversation, I'm like, is there anybody else in your family interested in orthodontics or braces? Would you like a free consult while you're bringing your daughter in possibly? She literally, I think she cried real tears. She's like, no one has asked me that. I have a horrible story. She was a foster child, and she didn't really go to the dentist much. She ended up, marrying a loving husband. She has a child now. Her life's completely different. But she goes, I never really cared for my teeth, and I didn't ever think about even straightening them because nobody, I feel like nobody would look at me now or something. So I just asked her to, if you want to come in with your daughter, come in and they'll just, take a look. So she was very happy about that. And, it just showed empathy. And I say that a lot though, actually. Usually it's part of my script now, no matter who I'm scheduling. I like to just say, is there anybody else in your family considering orthodontics we can help here today? So even if they give me like a random phone number of a neighbor, anything, give it to me. I'll do it. I'll take it. I'll, have them call me. I just try to maximize while I'm on the phone because they kind of forget their other child, or they forget their husband needed it or was thinking about it a month ago, or even themselves. So, yeah. So, I mean, that made me feel good that she came in, but a lot of them have dental phobia too. So I think like 17 to 20%, Zach, have like dental phobia. You know how like white jacket syndrome for doctors?
Yeah.
It's dental phobia for orthodontists. I just try to make them feel at ease too and be like, oh no, we're cooler than a dentist. We're an orthodontist. We have all these things. So I try to make them feel better about that too. So we had one of my team members, Alicia, we didn't have to, we listened to one of her calls the other day. It was amazing. This guy got a runaround from another orthodontist, take the braces off, do this, it hurt. He was telling us all the things that was happening to him. And she pretty much talked him off a ledge and was like, just come on in. We're here for you. We'll care for you. We'll see what we can do to help. We'll give you that free exam. So at least you can just have a second opinion to see if that, feels better for you. You have a good vibe at our office. So yeah, we do a lot of, success stories here. I could just go on and on, Zach.
Well, and I think that's so awesome because being able to not only, bring down that guard and make people again feel seen, accepted, and wanted is huge. But for the practice, like the bottom dollar, because we're trying to improve calls and all of that, and it does come with the human element, but you're getting a warm lead at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's way better than running a Facebook ad or anything like that. You're getting, two birds with one stone in just that one phone call, because you were willing to ask that question. You felt there was something there. You were using your spidey senses to get, a little bit more out of somebody. And
Yeah.
when you come down to phone calls, you want somebody that feels natural on the phone. Like, you
Yeah,
don't want somebody that feels rigid. You want somebody that likes talking.
for sure. Yeah, and that's me. Yeah, when I audit my own calls, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I felt like I talked a lot." But I do the check-ins. I do try to slow down. I do, but I think it's just because I love my job. I'm a very enthusiastic person. They can tell that. There's nothing negative that comes out of it really, but everyone's different. I'm like, "Oh, we could
Yeah.
do this and we could do that." And I want to build the doctor up and tell him about our great offer. And, I'm excited about calling him up. And when
Yeah.
our doctors switch up an offer, like from 750 off to 1,000, I call everybody and tell them, "Hey, now's the
Hey,
time."
now's yeah, and that shows that you appreciate them and that you want them to get a good deal,
Don't
because
miss out.
yeah, don't miss out, because the cost is one thing, but the value is so much more when they actually get treatment, because
Yes.
the doctor's going to do the right thing. They're
Mhm.
going to make them feel better about themselves. So I just want to get a couple rapid fire here on from you. So how can you make patients feel like the call is actually worth their time?
Patients, they value clear answers. So when you answer the questions and you don't, you're not beating around the bush and acting real salesy and stuff, they appreciate that, right? Sometimes people want to go cut to the chase. How much is it going to be? Can I afford it?
Yep.
You got to kind of calm them down a little bit, answer the questions as you could. You can always use excuse, and I've done it before. That's a great question for a treatment coordinator. I would love to just get you scheduled so she can answer, or he can answer all your questions. So, um, yeah. And then,
Okay.
of course, if they say to call me back at a certain time, that's super important too, to know that, we're going to do what we said we're going to do.
So we got a question from Miss Clark over on Instagram saying, should you always have an offer? Are you not undermining your value? I think an offer is a way to get people into the door. I don't think it is undermining your value. You know how much you need to clear and all of that within your practice. And I think when you are able to get a higher volume by doing an offer, I think that is going to outweigh the amount that you're quote unquote giving away. What do you think about
Correct.
that, Julie?
I think the same way too. People like deals. We know this. I mean, people
Yeah.
like deals. It doesn't even have to be money off. It could be something fun. It could be tickets to a local, park or something like that. Hey, we're giving away tickets to our local park, the, first 100. It could be anything. I mean,
Yeah.
the offices just need to decide on what they think they can do and just do something fun. It doesn't have to be $1,000 off. It could be, tickets to our local park, or something like that, or local show coming in town if you start treatment with us. Or a lot of my clients do Apple AirPods, so that's always a
Mm.
popular one.
Yeah. And people love them. I love my Apple AirPods, and they're only like, I think one of them's like $129.
Yeah, and then
You
a
know?
lot of whitening. We do a lot of whitening, free whitening with
Hmm.
braces and Invisalign. So that, I don't know how much they would have in free whitening. Some of it's the take home kit, some's,
Yeah.
one you do in office. So yeah, it's just something that they would look at. But I think, yeah, I think a deal's like would be a deal. It's something
Yeah.
I could sell them on anyway.
Yeah. Because you might offer, $500 off, but then you could do a retainer program and upsell them on that. And then you could do a whitening program and upsell them on that. And it's like, yeah, you're giving them a down, an offer off of something, but long run, you're getting them for a longer time than however long they're going to be in braces. So it's like you're playing the long game instead of the short game. You got to think long term when you're thinking of these offers, because one, you got to know where your cash flow is. You got to know what you can afford as well to give off on each one of these, because lab fees is a huge part of anything that you do within orthodontics if
Right.
you're doing anything on that side of stuff. So you need to make sure you're not cutting your nose off to spite your face on that side of
Exactly.
things. So just be very, very careful on that, but knowing what you can and can't do is huge. And I think talking to our partner growth advisors, our PGAs here at HIP, would be a huge way to understand where you where you can and where you can't, but offers get more people in the doors than no offers. And
Yeah,
again,
it's
it,
easier for me to sell, that's for sure. Because I get excited about them, especially if they up them or do something a little different, or Disney passes if they live in California. There's a lot of fun things you can do with the offers.
different ways than just dollar off amounts. You can do a lot of different things, but that is a great question, Ms. Clark. Thank you
Yeah.
for asking that. All right, guys, we are wrapping this one up. Julie, I know you got a few quotes. I got a quote that I want to share. So let's jump into these real quick.
Yeah. So I was just going to say the customer's perception of your office is basically your reality. So they're going to judge you probably harder than anybody else, the new
Mm,
customers. So you
yeah.
might need to like look at what they're saying or any complaints they may have, and clean it up. It could be your office chairs are really hard and they're uncomfortable. And I sat for 1 hour in these waiting to get my son in braces. Like, put a comfy couch in,
Yeah.
or something. It could be something easy like that.
Yeah.
Um, and also, like I was going to talk about referrals. A good referral is basically the highest compliment you can have. So it's not just, getting these new patients in. Those new patients are building other new patients for you. So they're going to say, oh, I got new AirPods and I love the doctor. And this is what happened. You're going to get the kid's going to go to school with the new AirPods and he's going to say, Dr. Hip gave me these. These are cool.
Off of the referral thing, it's essentially you're making disciples for your practice. They're going out and they are delivering the good news, if you will, of your orthodontic practice or dental office. And that is so big when you think about it, because you're not having to pay for any of that. You've already made the investment. And if they get 2 or 3, that's totally free. You didn't have to pay any ad money.
And I know this is a huge investment to talk about, and I'm not the one probably paying for it. But think about this though: a kid, they started braces with you. You're giving them a hoodie, like it says, branded all over it,
Hmm.
front and back, and then also they got new AirPods, and they're going to go to school. Now, who are they going to tell? What are they going to do? I
Yeah.
just think that's very impactful. Just they can just be your, little billboard. So
I mean, when I was a teacher, I saw Fishbein orthodontics all the time, and I was like, "Who is this Fishbein dude?" And then coming to work into the hip, I'm like, "Yeah, like all of my students went to Fishbein."
yeah,
So it's
you see
because
the hoodies. You talked about it. All the
yeah,
kids.
and
Yeah.
all of that, and it's like everybody, it was like constantly one after another. It's like, oh, I'm getting braces, and
You know where to go. You know where to go. When it's your turn, you know where to go because you already
yeah.
seen the name. Yeah.
So that's
Crazy.
huge. And knowing that they are going to talk. Oh, yeah, I felt
Yep.
really comfortable. They were really cool. They were really nice, whatever it is. Like that makes a huge difference when you are a practice trying to reach essentially one of the most fickle parts of an age group, which is teenagers.
They're very fickle kids. They're a different breed.
Yeah. Well, everybody, that is our stream today. Make sure to like and subscribe for our weekly podcast, the Grow Ortho Podcast, to hear more content that can help you grow. We'll be live next week. We're going to be talking about SEO with James from our team, so come and be a part of that. Julie, thank you so much for being on. I hope everyone got a ton of awesome tidbits, gold nuggets that they can put into their practice.
That's true. Me too. Thanks so much, Zach. You're always so much fun to hang out with.
Well, thank you, Julie. I appreciate that. Mark Twain said it best that the secret to getting ahead is getting started. So get out there and get something started, making changes that you want to see in your practice. Now, this has been Zach.
And Julie.
Y'all have a great weekend. See y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.